Alright, hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between OGS, TheWind, and Wacomm here on Lost Temple. Someone actually told me that this actually stands for Zerg Lover, and that is what I actually had it translated it to, but Zerg Lover just seemed as a very odd name for a Terran player. I had to ask Argo Xenix what his name was, and he said it was his friend named Wacomm, so I will go ahead and choose Wacomm over Zerg Lover from a Terran player, for a Terran player name any day. We have OGS TheWind now moving out with this Overlord. Gonna go ahead and scout out the 12 o'clock location here on Lost Temple with OGS TheWind spawning at the 2 o'clock position or 3 o'clock position here on Lost Temple. So this will be a cross spawn here on Lost Temple. Now, one of the things about Lost Temple, which makes it more of a Terran-style favored map, is that, especially against Zerg, is that Terran players, as soon as they just put down any amount of missile turrets here and here, they can come back and try to out-expand or try to even up the matchups in terms of the expansion. Zerg players normally have to expand or have one expansion on top of the Terran player, but in this particular instance, even if the Terran player is behind 1 or 2 bases, he can try to take this base here and then put missile turrets up, and there's not really much that the Zerg player can do. We'll see how this particular game goes as TheWind now moving out with these drones. Gonna go ahead and do some scouting. You may wonder if he did even bother to scout. He came up this ramp and just pretty much got enough sight to know that a Terran player did not spawn here, as many Terran players normally like to build on their front door, ensuring that there is no baneling bust of anything of that nature. Interestingly enough, Wacomm has not gone for any scouting just quite yet. As soon as this command center is finished training this SCV, we will most likely see an upgrade to an orbital command. Wait for the barracks. There we go. Now upgrading to an orbital command center at this time. And now we also see TheWind setting up this hatchery down over here. The hatchery was being placed down before the spawning pool. So interestingly enough, we'll see how this works out as a Marine now being trained as well. I don't see a reactor. We do have a refinery here, so we may get a reactor here, or he just simply wait for that factory and get that factory. And we now finally see an SCV moving out from Wacomm. So Wacomm will finally be able to get some scouting information and figure out where TheWind has spawned. This game was taken from the Korean Battle.net servers. OGS TheWind, a very high level player. Same thing with Wacomm as well. I'm expecting this game to be a pretty epic matchup. OGS TheWind now down over here with a hatchery. That hatchery will be completed in just a moment. No time to even set up a bunker anytime soon, as we now have the spawning pole looked like an extractor on the minimap, but no, the second extractor is being placed down here, and now we see a drone being transferred over, perhaps to grow up and be a spine crawler and add a little bit of defense. There is a factory now being placed down, but interestingly enough, there is not much really being trained up by the Wacomm right now. He does have some Marines, and now that factory is coming into play, but not much is going to really happen, as this Overlord now going to try to hug along this edge and then get inside this base and try to get some additional scouting information. We do see an armory now coming in, an armory and a starport, I believe. So if this is going to be an armory and a starport, it's most likely going to be some Thor ship play. We do have double refineries down, so that does allow for a stronger gas build, as it will take quite some time for the armory to be completed. However, there is no tech lab just quite yet, so I'm not sure what that armory is for. You cannot build Valkyries in StarCraft 2, so no real reason to get an armory unless you want either heavier engineering upgrades, engineering bay upgrades, or you're trying to go for a Thor. We do see now Marines making their way across. The Overlord is inside the base, is able to see this key position here. A lot of Terran players like to build their command center here and then lift it off before establishing it, so TheWind will be able to get a lot of information. But no, now moving out barely with that Overlord. Overlord does not see all too much. However, Wacomm does not see onto that high ledge there. Back over here, taking a look at TheWind. Wind has a very strong economy so far. He's currently sitting on 27 harvesters, still power droning, getting 3 additional drones, getting some spine crawlers as well, making sure that there is not going to be any Thor play along this ledge over here. A lot of the times, a lot of Terran players will get a dropship, get a Thor, and then try to snipe down this hatchery. The Thor, with a range of 7, able to deal a lot of damage very quickly against one hatchery here. Now we see some Marines now making their way over. SCVs now coming down over here on the lone ramp. Not quite sure what these SCVs are going to do. Perhaps they're going to simply walk out in a single file line, try to make their way over there, make their way over there, and then perhaps elevator drop the rest. So we're going to see SCVs and Marines now making their way across. We do see one Zergling here, and now SCVs moving out that Thor ship, enabling that Thor to move at a much higher movement speed. And now Spine Crawlers uprooting, oh, not knowing about that Thor. So this is going to be a little bit of a split attack here. Roaches now trying to make their way back over here, but instead the Thor ship is going to drop up onto that high ground before this is able to root in time, and that may be a little bit of a problem. Now trying to shoot down that last Overlord. Marines and SCVs now coming in. Very, very nicely played, as the SCV is now going to start dealing damage towards this one Spine Crawler over here, and now the Thor does have enough range. SCV should probably be on auto repair, and nicely done. So one Thor on this high ledge. OGS TheWind overreacting to the Marines, uprooting his Spine Crawlers, and now this hatchery may get sniped down. There are a large number of roaches, and now the roach movement upgrade also coming online. So as soon as those roaches get that movement upgrade, Spine Crawlers now trying to come in and now trying to shoot down those last units over there. SCVs are trying to repair. No, SCVs now finally able to pull back here. Are they going to be able to deal enough damage towards those roaches? Spine Crawlers are now starting to able to impale at those Marines as well. Marines now trying to pull back. That one Thor is still taking a lot of damage so far, and now one Thor trying to fight back a large group of Spine Crawlers. They're now trying to deal more damage towards that one Overlord. Overlord being pushed back steadily with that range of 10 on that Javelin missile launchers, and down goes that final Spine Crawler there. So this hatchery down to 302 hit points may get sniped down. However, we do see a lot of bunkers. Wow, a very, very strong bunker play. Those roaches are going to have a very difficult time trying to get up that ramp. Marines do have an additional range from a bunker, and now two Thors, and now those roaches realize all the trouble they're in. The hatchery has been taken down, and a very, very strong victory for Wacomm early in this game, taking down the early hatchery and now making it so that OGS TheWind is not able to mine out nearly as quickly. So we do see some long distance mining. No more long distance mining, as the Thor, adding insult to injury, wants to take down some of those larvae as well. Sitting down back over here, we do see a lot of roaches still here. And now mining minerals. We need to get more drones onto here, and now going into a Spire Tech. So OGS TheWind going into Spire Tech, and now we see a very critical play by TheWind. Wind expanding at the 12 o'clock location will mean that on this particular matchup, we will not have a split between north and south. Instead, it will be a split between east and west. And what that will do is it will make it very, very difficult for the Terran player to set up missile turrets. And now the Zerg ground army will simply be able to swarm in very easily. If a second hatchery is placed down, the Wind will just be able to produce so many units off of these two hatcheries over here that Wacomm will be having a very difficult time trying to even set up this base. So very, very critical move by the Wind in this particular instance, as the Wind also trying to take down these set of destructible rocks as well. There is one SCV just constantly on patrol, and also a Thor here. Down goes one of those larvae as it goes off of the creep. And now roaches just hanging around that front door, and now Wacomm seems to be turtling just a little bit much. We are now about 12 minutes into this game. We do have some siege tanks. Siege tech has been researched, and now all of this running off of one starport, one factory, one barracks. We are getting some additional barracks as well, but we do know that Wacomm does not know about this hatchery over here, and he does not know that these destructible rocks have been taken down. The Wind most likely will be setting up another expansion here in just a moment. Command center now making its way, will be landing. There we go, landing, and now a lot of SCVs now going to be able to return that cargo, upgrade to an orbital command. Production-wise, in come those roaches. Roaches quickly realizing how bad of a fight they're in, as those siege tanks were able to get off a couple critical splash attacks. We do have Burrow researched, so the roaches will be able to regenerate their damage very, very easily. You can see it. Roaches regenerate 5 hit points per second without the tunneling claws upgrade. So very, very nice. All these roaches will be able to come back in at essentially the build time on a roach, I believe, is 33 game seconds. So if you burrow a roach that is 1 hit point, and you just essentially save the whole entire roach and get a fully hit point roach back into the game for the same time it would cost to build one. So a very, very economic unit coming in from the Zerg player. Taking a look at the bases now, we have the armory now getting the level 1 weapons upgrade and the level 1 infantry upgrades as well for both the tech units the mech units and the marine units as well. We do see the stim pack currently being researched, but no combat shield just quite yet. We are getting double refinery here as both players are now in transition. A lot of overlords in the air. Thor is still hanging around over here, and the Terran player really needs to move out with some Hellions or do something in order to get some proper scouting. And oh look, is that too many SCVs? Yeah, one SCV too many on one of those refineries there. That should be fixed in the next patch, I believe, as we are now getting, no, not getting the level 2 weapons upgrade on the infantry just quite yet. More mutalisks being trained, and now another hatchery here, and I believe, yes, we do see that Wacomm does know about this hatchery here. He apparently he doesn't know that the destructible rocks have been destroyed. A little bit of a glitch there in the game, as he definitely knows that the rocks have been destroyed. Excuse me. Roach is down over here by the Zelnaga Watchtower. Army-wise, both sides sitting about even, or you can't get much more even than at 2750 versus 2750. Income-wise, you can see that the Zerg player is a little bit behind, but as he's starting to power drone more, and now in comes a scanner sweep from Wacomm. Wacomm realizes that he is not in as safe of a position as he thought. Back over here, we do have some one missile turret and a Thor trying to shoot down more of those units, and a lot of these missile turrets, or a lot of these mutalisks will get taken down, and that was a very, very heavy cost and heavy casualties there, as this one missile turret was able to get 4 kills. So that was a very, very heavy loss to just simply clear out 1 or 2 Thors and a couple of those units. And now we see a drop coming in. 3 Thors quickly going to be able to drop into here. We do see some roaches or drones now trying to be traded. In comes a quick spawn larva there, and this hatchery will quickly get sniped down. We do see, what, 2 Thors and a lot of marine coming in. Down go all of these units here. Broodling's now trying to come in and trying to swarm as well. 1 Thor trying to return home, able to get picked back up, and now those mutalisks may get a couple of free kills, and that's going to be a big problem if those mutalisks are able to snipe down any of those medevacs while they're holding a Thor, or anything else for that matter. That Thor now trying to be dropped. Oh, and Roach is getting 2 quick kills there, or 1 quick kill there. The medevac has been taken down, and Marines finally dropped there, so those Roaches were able to at least snipe down one of those Thors, get some damage dealt. We do need another queen here, another hatchery here. Otherwise, the Wind will be very, very far behind, and he will not be able to move on into that late game. But really, Wacomm really likes this one base with expansion play. A lot of siege tanks, a lot of marines, no combat shield just quite yet, infantry upgrades as well. So, and now all of these SCVs are currently just being mined out of this position. 1 missile turret over here will quickly get taken down by these roaches, as the Wind is now going to be able to set up his 3rd base. This is going to be very, very bad play in just a moment. Unless Wacomm tries to take up a 3rd base, things are not looking good for him. He does have another command center here. He will be able to take down these set of destructible rocks. Perhaps he should also try to get the upgrade the structure armor and get the auto tracking in order to get +1 range on that planetary fortress and additional 2 armor on those planetary fortress for a total of 5, making them very, very difficult to shoot down. Back over here, OGS the Wind now expanding across the map, doing a very, very great job, and now OGS the Wind also had a couple of creep tumors here, so even if Wacomm wanted to expand here, he will be exposed. Back over here, we now see medevacs now moving out with some siege tanks and some marines as well. The marines still do not have that combat shield. We do have the Terran infantry upgrades, level 2 weapons upgrade for those Thors and those siege tanks. They will be able to deal a lot of damage. There is 1 overlord in the air, and the overlords do not have that movement speed upgrade, so the marines may be able to shoot it down and take it down. And now with more overlords trying to make their way over, that is going to be a very, very bad sign indeed. 1 marine getting caught on that low ground siege tank, going to siege up here and nicely positioned. So we're going to have marines with stim pack. Mutalisks are going to have a very difficult time. Roaches trying to make their way up, but just out of combat range there. In come those mutalisks once again, but those mutalisks not going to be able to deal any damage. No SCVs in this group though, as the siege tank continuing to just rack up more and more kills. The siege tanks are not able to one-shot any of those drones though, so that will be an issue there, as now OGS the Wind unable to mine out of the main base here. Another siege tank needs to be placed down. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between OGS the Wind and Wacomm here on Lost Temple.